work, because you see that, okay, it's very deep, and I think it kind of cuts across most creative talent. You like it, you know, you're doing it for the love of it, you know, not for money. This is what we both know. So we have a shared understanding that we write poems because there's something deep inside that calls for expression. So all we seek for poets is to express themselves. Next slide, please. So from history till date, you'll find out that it's the same thing that cuts across. There's always this drive and this crave to make commercial value out of poetry. From 16th century, from the days of Shakespeare, there's a drive. Even though we know it's an art, but there's a drive. There's a silent drive to make commercial value out of it. The conflict has always been, should we just focus on making money or just pursuing the art? Which one should we stick with? From the ancient Greek poets also had to find creative ways to support themselves while writing poetry. I think that William Shakespeare was the only one that was able to make the first commercial break out of poetry. Another generation where the beat came into the picture, where the poet also is a performing art, either with a guitar or something else. So, but you can start, but can this art pay the bills? Or can it at least take 5% of the bills? This drive has always been there. It did not start today. So, for us today, I believe that we have more expanded opportunities. There are more events today, whether you're hosting your own independent event, or you're keying into Freedom Hall, or you are, and it grew to become Omo as a brand. So when you think of Omo, what comes to your mind? You think about washing brighter, and they say brighter and it shines. Okay, so it's gone beyond tagging Omo as a name to tagging Omo as a brand. Because now, Omo now means like... Let's just go through and see. A brand is more than a name. A brand is a name that stands for something tangible in the lives of its current and... Forget about all the big English, I'll break it down. Something that stands, a name that stands for something tangible in the lives of its current and potential users. What are we trying to say here? It's one of the most important, and by implication, the most valuable asset if properly managed as a business. It's more than a product. A brand is more than an inanimate object we picked off the shelf called product. It's an entity with a meaning that is relevant within the wider context of the needs, aspirations, passions, and lifestyle orientation of the customer. It's very straightforward. When I say pure water, what does it mean to you? Is what? Sachet water. That's just what it means to you. When I say ragolis, what does it mean to you? Which one? I didn't say ragolis water, I just said ragolis. More expensive water. You know, there's some, and I just mentioned ragolis. I didn't say ragolis water. When I say Pastor E.A. Adeboye, what does it mean to you? It means so many things. It means Redeemed Church. To some, it means spiritual father. To some, it means hallelujah. It means, you know, so when you hear of a name, what does it evoke inside you? The extent to which it can evoke any meaning at all is to the extent to which you are associated with it. If you mention E. Adeboye in Borno State, for instance, it might not mean anything to anybody. They might not know him, and don't blame them. Because one, they are not Christians. Two, they probably have never heard about that name at all. So, but within the Christian circle, and within the southern circle here, it means a lot. If you say Arsenal, what does it mean to you? It means a lot of things to different people. Bad football, jokers. So they are not Arsenal fans here to defend themselves. When you say Chelsea, when you hear the word Chelsea, what does it mean to you? Money. Good football. You know, and when you hear of Google, I mean, just search engine. You just think that, oh God, before Google, where was the world? What were we? I mean, how was life without Google? You know, so it means that A brand is much more than a name. A brand is something, is a name that stands for something tangible, something that you can associate with, something that evokes emotions inside anyone that is associated with it. And when I say anything, it means a lot of things, especially Friday evenings to a lot of people. When I say anything, what does it mean to you? Okay, so that's the concept of marketing, and that's the concept of what a brand is. A brand is a name that stands for something. So for you as a poet that wants to brand yourself, what do you stand for? What are you known for? You've been on several stages and you have read out several poems. But what can you be associated with? What can you be associated with? If you mention the word donor, there are a few poem topics that will come up. I remember when they mentioned which one, 1, 2, 3 names came up. But for you as a poet, when your name is mentioned as a poet, what can you be associated with? I think that's an area that you need to define, that you need to work on as a poet. That's the first thing that you need to work on. So I ask this question, what do you speak about? More like, who are you as a poet? What have you defined yourself to be associated with? I'm not able to capture all the things that poets, talk about. I know focus on politics, there's focus on societal ills, there's focus on education. She talked about the, which one did you want to be known for? What do you want to be known for? The best of applications, apps on your phone, Android phones or BlackBerry, the best of apps, human life, or to living. If it does not add value to everyday life, then it cannot make meaning as an app. Find out. The tops of apps, giddy traffic is working out well because within the Lagos environment, you need it. You need it. Because you need it. So you need to, as a poet, define where you want to play. I know it's a very diverse field, but you need to define where exactly you want to play. That does not mean that you cannot play in other spheres, but you need to define for yourself where you want to play. That is where you want to be known for. I picked this particular one, Fatuma's Voices. I don't know if anyone has heard about Fatuma's Voices or Fatuma's Voice. Please go and Google it. I'm not a poet, but when I was doing some work on this and I stumbled on this, even as me saying that I'm not a poet, it made meaning to me. It's like Freedom Hall, but in Kenya. Like Freedom Hall in Kenya. What they have is, Fatuma is an underprivileged 50-year-old woman, born dumb with over 22 million words trapped inside of her. So they created a figurative gesture of that woman. The same way you have the Freedom Platform that brings together young people to talk about evils in society and several other stuff. So the Fatuma's Voice is, so now the question is, who wants to be the voice of Fatuma? So the Fatuma lady, she's 50 years, and they have calculated that there are 22 million words trapped inside Fatuma, and they're looking for poets, they're looking for individuals who can be the voice of Fatuma. So at every point in time, there's a Fatuma that needs to speak out. At every point in time, when Fatuma is in traffic in Lagos, and Fatuma looks around and looks at the slums in Lagos, she wants to speak out, but she cannot. So the question is, do you want to be the voice of Fatuma? So in defining yourself as a brand, you need to be able to look deep and identify where you want to anchor. Don't just come out as a name, like poet Kelvin. No. What does Kelvin stand for? So I would be glad to see a Fatuma's Voice as a program on radio, because I'm interested in knowing what next Fatuma has to say about politics, about education, societal ills. What next? Who is that person that will be the voice of Fatuma? So for you as a poet, you need to define where you want to play. What do you speak about? Next slide, please. When you have established whatever you want to say or where you want to play, remember we're talking about taking your product, taking your brand to the market. When you have established what you want to say, where you want to play, you need to take that product, that you as a brand to the market. This is the conventional we call it total wheel of communication. Whether as a product, if you are taking a product to the market, let it be Ragolis bottle, let it be recharge card, let it be, name any product at all. This is basically what you need to take any product to the market. So I'm looking at you as a brand in taking your product as a brand. A brand will have products and services. So you as a brand, your product and services are your offerings, your content become your product. Okay, because in a brand, there's what we call the 4 pillars of a brand. You look at your heritage, where are you coming from? So it's easier now. Freedom Hall has built a brand, and as you associate yourself with Freedom Hall, it becomes easier for you to define yourself when you are defining yourself to people. My name is Kelvin Orifa. I perform at Freedom Hall. So there's a linkage. Every brand must have a heritage. That they need to listen to me because they have never seen me before. So I have to put something together to say, okay, this is Kelvin Orifa who has done X, Y, Z. So if you don't want to listen at all, listen because I have done this. So I'm drawing the strength of your belief. Why? Because South Africa will evoke a lot of things in people's mind, appetite and all that stuff. So we say we are from Africa. Why do we say we are from Africa? We know what Africa is known for. Hospitality is one key thing that Africa is known for. We know the resilient spirit of the African person. So we are proud to say that we are from Africa. It's the same way, I can't remember this soap now. And I also give you, okay, let me start with this little joke. My driver went to go and buy car batteries. I sent it to my mechanic because the car didn't start. So I was wondering, was a car that was abandoned for some time and they needed to use it. So I said, okay, you know what, go and buy a battery from the mechanic, but go to the mechanic. And he called me and said, the battery they are selling to me, sir, the name on it, I said, where is it made from? Made PRC. I said, no, return it, that's China. People's Republic of China. They know you will not buy made in China. So they changed the name to PRC. People's Republic of China. You will not buy certain things from Egypt. Because Egypt will evoke certain things. I mean, Egypt, you know, what's that? So it's easier, they say, made from the Mediterranean. This platform is What Up, I'm sorry. So I thought What Up was the next event that was coming up. What Up is alone. Then you cannot win people like me. Yeah, then you cannot win people like me to appreciate what we have. It's kind of a word inside of that. I see poets more like the Emites. Emi alone, without flavors stuff, you would not have enjoyed Africa Rapper #1. Emi alone, you can't enjoy it because it's just rap. Who does more rap more than the poet? Who plays with words more than the poet? I don't think so. So why are we not? Allow me this. Look, it's not as if I can't sing, but that's not what brought me out. So it's a rap. But you see, in the rap, he has been able to figure out what works within the Lagos, within the Southwest environment, within this Nigerian environment. So I think poets need to start looking at what has worked in other markets, what has worked in other segments, what has worked in other parts of this same industry, what has worked for the comedians. We all know how Basketman started by associating himself with Rhythm. Was it Rhythm or Cool FM at the Fantasy Land? That's how it started. That Rhythm Unplugged. So, as a poet, who are you associated with? There's a comedy show. Why is a poet not there to also deliver something? So you must find a way to associate yourself. Associate yourself with rap artists. Associate yourself. Let somebody play the guitar for you. Deliver your poets. At what point, sir, are we going to be having poets in CD, in poetry, the poets in CDs that people can actually enjoy? When is it going to happen? So you can see that the opportunities for us to make it lucrative is there. We just need to look deeper and ask ourselves, how do I come out of this my poet shell and make commercial value out of it? The only way we can do that is to understand it from the customer's perspective. What does the customer want? You can go deeper into your shell and do the deep poetry stuff. But when you come out to talk to people like us, you have to come down to our level.
Yes, so please tell them.
You know, so for me, we are so close within the industry. You have your friends, comedians. You know, and I mentioned something. For me, they say to think out of the box. You need, some say break the box. I don't believe that. To think out of the box, what you need to do is look into other boxes. But he used that as an invitational pool for people to experience that. His next concert doesn't need any invitational pool because we know what to expect. So because we don't... next one. Sorry. Yeah. Thank you.
Orifa.
Thank you so much. That was very... Okay, time is fast spent and we have our next speaker in the house, but we'll give an opportunity for just 2 questions.
All right.